All right, guys, our next project is going to include more things about forms, which if you remember from the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about shape, a shape which is just flat versus a form that has shading and shadows. So today what we're going to do is we're just going to review shading, knowing where to shade, and how and when. So a shape versus a form. So all you need today is a piece of paper and a pencil. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a value scale. So value is how light or dark a color is. So you're just going to draw a rectangle. If it's not perfect, that's fine. Mine's a little bit crooked. So we're going to draw a rectangle. We are going to cut it in half to make 2 equal sides, and then we're going to cut both of those in half so that we have 4. On this end is going to be our light, and on this end is going to be dark. So the first thing that we're going to do is this part that is closest to the dark, we're going to color it in the darkest that we can. In order to do that, you're going to need to press down hard with your pencil. So the harder that you press down, the stronger of pressure that you have on your pencil, the darker your color will get. Also, if you keep going over it over and over and over and over again, it's going to get darker. So we want to color that one in as dark as we can. Now, lightest, we're going to see how lightly we can color with our pencil. So if you see, I have my pencil at an angle here. I'm not holding it straight up. It's kind of at an angle. And I'm going to just, as light as I can, fill this square in. If you go outside the lines, that's fine. So on the camera, you guys can barely see it. These two are going to be, so if this is light, this is going to be medium, medium dark, and then like extra dark. So this one I'm actually going to color both of these in lightly, but a little bit darker than that first one. And then I'm going to go over this again to make it even darker. Changing the pressure of the pencil to the paper. So it should be light, medium, dark, and extra dark. So this is your value scale. Value scale. It's like from light to heavy, light to dark, a scale, like you would weigh something. We're weighing how light this is. If it's light, medium, dark. So this is something that a lot of artists, especially artists that draw with a pencil or pen, practice making over and over again. Because the more control that you can have of your pencil, the better you will become at drawing. So the more that you practice having control of how lightly you press or how dark you press, you will get better. So some people go and make value scales that are much larger. So instead of just having 4, you could do And same thing, have this be the darkest. And this be the lightest, and still have to fill all those in from light to dark. It's going to take way more control of your pencil to be able to fill those in. So that would be a pretty tough challenge. So I tried to fill mine in. It's not perfect. And trying to fill this in without erasing. So if you go too dark and you can't fill the rest of these in, then that's how you got to be able to control more pressure, more pressure, more pressure, more pressure, more pressure, more pressure to fill that in. So that could be a challenge if you want to try a challenge. But what we're going to work on today is some shading. So up here at the top of your paper in the middle, I want you to draw a little sun, sunshine, and your sun radiates out in every direction. But we're going to do 3 circles. So our sun is shining towards our 3 circles, and we're going to shade them so that they look like spheres instead of circles. So we'll start easier with the first one. If the light is shining straight down on this, the shadow is going to be, or not the shadow, the shading, the darkest part is going to be this kind of crescent shape, like a crescent moon. This is going to be the darkest part. But this one, the sun isn't shining straight down on it. The sun is kind of shining from the side. So it will be more of this area that is dark because that is the furthest away from the sun. Same thing on this side. It's shining down here, so this part's going to be the lightest, which means this part here is going to be the darkest. Now I'm going to work on using value to shade this in. So if I know that this area here is my darkest that I use down here, I need to try and do a value scale all the way to the top. So next is going to be a little bit lighter. And it's going to get a little bit lighter and lighter and lighter until you get to the very top there. It will take time. And you can see I'm kind of going like around in a little oval almost. I'm not holding my pencil straight down. I'm holding it at an angle. If you could see, the lead on my pencil has kind of made a shape to an angle. So going over it lightly will really help to blend those colors in. So we'll go from light to dark. Now, that's a nicely shaded sphere, but if the sun was shining on it, the ground down here wouldn't be light. It would have a shadow on the ground. So I'm going to also add my shadow. Now, the shadow, same way, it gets darker right up next to, and then lighter towards the edges. All right, I'm going to work on this one over here. The more you practice this, the better you will get at it. The more you take your time and the more layers of light coloring, of light shading, the better it will turn out. Because if you just scribble on here hard and it's too dark, you can't get rid of it. So it's easier to add more than to take it away. All right, so I have my shading done of the shape. Now I need to add my shadow. So if the sun is here, my shadow is going to be over here. And then this one would be the opposite. The shadow would be here. So you can complete shading all three of these and then do your values. We'll start with your value scale, do all three spheres. If you want to try the challenge of making a more detailed value scale, you can do that, but this is all that you need to turn in for today. All right, so you can go on Canvas and click Submit Assignment. This is what you're going to turn in, and you're going to need to know how to do this for our next project. So have fun, and I can't wait to see what you do. See you next time.